Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Truck Before. This time, Second Skin. Yes, Second Skin. DS9 on It's All Been Truck Before. Hey, speaking of Second Skin, I almost said wear us like a second skin, but yeah, what is this? What is this? The Silence of the Lambs podcast? No, it's All Been Truck podcast. But another layer, if you will, if you want to be another layer of following us, like a second skin, follow us on Facebook. It's All Been Truck Before. Spelled just like it sounds. You'll find us. You'll find us on there. Have fun with us out there. Check out our stuff. Promo department's kicking out the jams to keep you abreast of what we're up to here on It's All Been Truck Before. So it's really easy. Facebook's really easy. Facebook.com is where you find that. And then you search It's All Been Truck Before. You'll find us. In the meantime, we're going to check out and talk about Second Skin. DS9, It's All Been Truck Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trucked Before. The skeleton crew is here.
This is Steven.
Jimmy-Jerome, no Keith. But we are here to talk Second Skin, first impressions.
Another weird one where one of our, I'm going to say ladies, which I feel like I'm downgrading Kira. One of our crew members, female crew members, wakes up and they've had immense plastic surgery in a different race. And in this one, she's not as confused. But anyway, reminded me of Face of the Enemy, Troy as a Romulan episode, but not as crazy. But I thought it ended better than that one. But I don't know if I was like, I think the last 20 minutes I really got into it, especially once Garrick shows up. But up until then, and a lot of that stuff over there, I didn't care for as much. So mixed, I guess. I just described it mixed is my first response.
I think part of what hurt this episode was the fact that a lot of shows around this time did similar episodes where, hey, one of the leads who you know and love aren't who they think they are.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, they are. It's a trick.
Yeah.
So it kills the suspense though, because I mean, there's even the first time I watched it, I don't think there was any part of me that was like, Kira's definitely actually a Cardassian.
Yeah, that's very good because I had that was going through my head the whole time. Like maybe 4% of me was like, this could be a possibility, but the rest of me is like, all right, what's the deal here?
Which I guess Star Trek Discovery probably played with our expectations when they made Ash Tyler an actual secret Klingon. Yeah, you're probably like, oh, this can't be true because we've seen this episode before, and no, it was.
That's right.
So play with the tropes. And that being said, I thought it was a decent episode. I think for trying to suspend that disbelief of, I know it's not real because that's just the way these episodes play out. If I could suspend that, I was engrossed in it. I thought it was interesting. It gives Nana Visitor something to do. I liked it better than Face of the Enemy. I called it Face of the Enemy 2 as my first note. Electric Boogaloo or whatever. But yeah, I think it was superior to that. I think there was some real pathos in here. I will admit, Kira bonding with the father was retreading some ground rather than, it would have had a harder impact if we hadn't already done that a couple of times. But yeah, still not stellar, but in season 6 or 7 Next Gen, I probably would have ranked this near the top. Where we are in DS9, mediocre episode. I
had that thought too. Like, you know what? I'm definitely downgrading episodes just because they're not as high as what we were going through for the run we were on there for a while. And I did also, I will say, I think this probably is a better episode than Face of the Enemy, but as I've said before, I have an affinity for that episode because it is crazy, and maybe it's a rewatchability thing that I would watch that episode, and that's a different thing altogether, rewatchability versus whether something's great. So, but anyway, but yeah.
Absolutely. So at the beginning of this episode, we had Uncle Quark saying that he would tell your Uncle Quark what's going on, which is creepy in a bad way. But it's Jed's, he's hitting on Jadzia because she's waiting for Dax she's waiting for Kira to come join her in the holosuite. And Kira thinks holosuites are a waste of time, which makes total sense for Kira's personality. I kind of wish we'd actually gotten to see Dax take her into the holosuite because I think Dax could have convinced her. But, that wasn't what this episode was.
What exactly is anti-grav sailing? Do you know?
I mean, I assumed it was like something 0G. I don't know.
Because I was like, is that... Because, they say something about... I thought... Kira says, no, I'm kind of looking forward to it, except for crashing. And I'm like, could anti-grav sailing in the Hall suite be tougher than flying a runabout? But maybe it is. I don't know. But
yeah, I really don't know, and there's nothing on Memory Alpha that
yeah.
gives us more information. I do see on Memory Alpha that this was actually envisioned as an O'Brien episode, and they were going to reveal that he had been a Cardassian for the last 20 years since he was on that other ship and
Oh
fought in the
wow.
war. Which the major issue they ran into that was explaining Molly's existence and how she was fully human. So that's when they
Yeah.
abandoned that
Yeah.
for Kira. But they did say they drew influence. Robert Hewitt Wolf was the written by on this one of the regular producers. He did say he was inspired by Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep as he wrote this, as well as Total Recall, of course.
Oh,
so, yeah. Anyway, we get some creepy shot of someone watching Kira as she's on the promenade, which immediately tells you this is not on the up and up. This is if you weren't sure that this was going to be a trick, that gives it away right at the beginning. And we also have the witness who recognizes Kira, which I guess does the opposite. That kind of convinces you that she's wrong. When like, I saw you at that camp.
I thought we had another episode where there was something like that about someone with the records at a camp at another Bajorian camp, but I can't remember can't remember which one that was. But somebody sitting at a desk.
We had some stuff at the Bajorian work camp. We had that resistance leader
that
came on board. Yeah. That was a whole season ago now.
Yeah.
But Derek likes traveling, he tells us, but space is dangerous.
Yes.
And when Bashir's like, so you mean the Cardassian government's just going to kill you if you leave the station? Garrick's like, Doctor, your imagination. But that's confirmation, right? That the Cardassian government's like, you're stuck here and you can't leave or we will kill you.
That was an interesting bit. That was an interesting piece. And space is dangerous is something we've talked about a lot. But yeah, I really like that.
Kira didn't make it to Bajor. Just goes missing en route, similar to Troy going missing en route home from her conference, The Face of the Enemy. But then she's a Cardassian. They did a great job with the makeup. Like, Nana Visitor wasn't really recognizable, but her demeanor and voice came through as this is Kira, fully done up. And I thought they did was A+.
I thought the makeup was great, and I thought Nana Visitor looked great as a Cardassian. I mean, in an attractive way, but also I thought the whole look was great as well. Yeah, I knockout job there. Great work there. I don't know, maybe just the Cardassian look just lends itself to. I don't know. We always seem to like the looks, especially at this point. They seem to have it down.
I dig the Cardassian look, and I like that alien. Like, I think they did a really good job developing them as a species. Obviously, there's still more development to come because the Bajorans and the Cardassians are who we're stuck with for 7 seasons, right? So there's more to come, but I like it.
Later, so it's not just me. Later, Garrick says to Kira, Major, I've never seen you look so ravishing. I was like, yep, I agree. I think I agree with them.
Yeah, I just took that as a funny throwaway. Like, you're a Cardassian, I'm a Cardassian. Yeah. They said it will take time to restore her memory. And so she meets Entek, who is her handler in the Obsidian Order. He's played by Gregory Sierra, best known for The Towering Inferno, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Vampires, and 12 episodes of Sanford and Son. Most of his credits appear to be in the 70s.
Yeah, he did a lot of. He kept working, but yeah, he was. I thought he was on Chico and the Man, but he was a regular on Barney Miller for a while. He was in one of the classic All in the Family episodes, one of their most famous episodes. He was the original captain on Miami Vice. Was replaced by Edward James Olmos because Gregory Sierra decided he didn't want to live in Miami. He didn't like living there. I think he might have been away from family. But yeah, he's a great character actor, and then we'll get to Lawrence Pressman's character later. But two great 70s, 80s character actors in here. And I think that also, I wouldn't, not necessarily on a nostalgic level, but definitely there is a little bit of nostalgia that I appreciate seeing those two guys. But more than that, they're just two good actors that I think helped to elevate this as well.
Great. Yeah, the guest star list was great this week for sure. When they're investigating Kira's disappearance. Sisko is with his core crew. They talk about how the energy residue they find could be a transporter or it could be a phaser disruptor set to kill. I'm not sure how those are the same energy signature, but I like the pathos delivered in that scene. Yeah, we're gonna proceed as it's a transporter, but yes, I'm fully cognizant it could mean she's dead.
Are they on the Defiant at that point?
I don't think they are yet.
Okay.
No, not yet. Because my next note is Garrick has news about Kira, and that's before they leave.
Okay. So, I don't have a ton of notes, so I'll save that till we get on the Defiant.
We're almost there. I don't have a ton of notes either. I mean, Garrick shows up and says, "Yeah, I know where Kira is," and offers to take them. Just gonna give them information, but then Sisko has to extort Garrick. I feel like we've seen a little bit of this dynamic between them before. We're gonna see a lot more of this dynamic later, including in one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek period, this Garrick-Sisko dynamic where if Garrick had gone to Picard would not have extorted him. Picard would not have forced it. But Sisko is the type of commander that is going to blackmail if he needs to blackmail because the ends justify the means. And I don't think that makes Sisko a lesser captain. I'm not even sure it makes him less moral. I think he is more flexible with the tools to do the job. He doesn't have the hubris Picard has, where his morals are always going to be the right ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that scene where Garrick and Sisko can get on the level with each other and basically be like, "You doing this?" And Sisko's like, "Yeah, I'm doing it. Call my bluff. You're the average Starfleet commander that's just going to lie about it." And I think that's the Frontier story, right? That they're far away from Starfleet Command. They're on the edge of exploration, similar to the original series. You don't have as tight a rule. Whereas Next Gen, the flagship, all eyes are upon him. Picard doesn't have the freedom to do it if he wanted to. So,
and I am enjoying it in these two episodes. I'm tipping my hand about next week, but I think, and you've been saying this, we get to see more of the captain that he is, or the commander that he is, the leader that he is, and I think we're getting to start to see both ends. Because I mean, I love it when he's not messing around, and I love it when he is messing around, when he's having fun too. And I think we're seeing more of that. And I think their interplay, and when Mr. Gul-Benil shows up, I love that scene for Garrick and for Sisko. But speaking of which, this is another fashion note. Did you like Sisko's? Our good folks at Shakote.net who do the transcripts I use, they called it his civilian clothes, but I liked his getup, and I thought it had the little corner folded over like Wrath of Khan, even though completely different look, but it still had the interesting fold over. So I liked it a lot. So anyway.
I think it's relatively standard for Star Trek civilian clothes whenever they go undercover.
Yeah.
It looks way too neat and new to like pass for an actual trader captain, in my opinion.
I agree.
But it's what they had. Costumes. They did not take the time to make those clothes look aged, and they should have.
Yes. They did not weather them. Yes, you're right.
Kira, we find out that her dad, Legate Gamar, is a member of Central Command, which is constantly warring with the Obsidian Order. And I think that's a very interesting revelation to what Cardassian government is like. We've got this secret society, the Obsidian Order, versus the legitimately elected government. And there's a lot of tension there.
Yeah.
And that tension will continue to be a part of the fabric of the series. But I think this is the first episode we really get a look at that tension.
So wait a minute. Everybody on the planet isn't exactly the same and does the same kind of thing?
No. Cheers. Cardassia is not one of those species where they have 20 people in a village and they all have the same job. No. I appreciate their development.
I do too.
Gamor is played by Lawrence Pressman, as you had already mentioned. Agreed. Great character actor. Known for 9 to 5, the movie American Pie, Shaft, the 1971 film, and a couple episodes of Dark Angel, as well as he said he did an episode of Magnum PI. Recently, 2023 Magnum PI, he did one episode.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
looks like he's still around.
We lost Gregory Sierra a few years ago, but yeah, we still got Lawrence Pressman still with us.
A couple of 2023 credits there. He is in 3 episodes of DS9. He'll do a second episode this season as the same character. at the end of the season he'll come back, and an episode in season. Oh no, sorry, the episode at the end of this season is a different character. He will return as Gamor though in season 5 for one episode.
I did see that.
Yeah. So I'm glad we're gonna get a follow up on that character because I feel like it's a waste not to use that character. I know I see on Memory Alpha that they wanted to make Entech, sorry, a reoccurring character and then decided to kill him instead.
Yeah.
I agree with that decision, and given who we're gonna get as the main face of the Obsidian Order, I'm fine with it. Even better actor, in my opinion, than even though I like this guy. But Gamor, I would have liked to see more of as we went on. I mean, there's some parts in the series later on that they bring in like a new Cardassian dissident, and it would have been nice if he was more folded into that story.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. He was really interesting, a character. His father feelings, like I wondered, I didn't think he was part of it. I got it. I figured it out before they revealed that this was a trap for him, not for her. But man, how remarkably his daughter looks like here in Nerys. Like, I guess that's why you risk kidnapping the XO of DS9 instead of some random Bajoran, because their look is just so similar.
I was having a hard time wrapping my head around it, and then they were just like, you know what? We're just gonna have Kira explain everything here. But I thought, again, this is not a visitor being great. I thought the way she was just like it was a discovery to her. Like, oh, da 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 da, and so we call it exposition all the time, especially at the top of a lot of these episodes. But this one was one of those that whenever they gotta reveal what the mystery is, it's like, okay, whatever. But I thought she did it so succinctly, but in character, and had such a reaction to it that I think that helped start bringing it home for me and make me like, oh, okay. Now not only do I understand what's going on, I really like the levels here. It is a weird, and you alluded to it earlier, it is weird, the whole, his daughter, what's exactly going on here. But then when we find out he's a dissident and all that, and then it's a trap for him. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, even though you see not a visitor in the eyes, when they do the surgery on her to make her look Cardassian, Ileana Gamor, she doesn't look like Kira. Like, there's a little bit of resemblance, but barely. And I think part of that's what helps sell, like, oh, she just bears a very fleeting resemblance to this character. So we can shape her look. Whereas if it looked just like Kira with some ridges, it would have been a much harder sell. And I think that's credit to the makeup team of they straddled that line of let's make her unrecognizable enough that this is believable.
Yeah.
Well, still, Nano Visitor, you just can't mistake her. She shines through so brightly.
Yep.
Which is great.
Yeah. I can't say enough good things about that makeup work there.
Oh, Nano Visitor, again, hit it out of the park. And there's yet to be a Kira episode where she doesn't. Whether you think the writing's mediocre or not, it's never her.
Yeah, she was not. Yeah, she was not the issue.
And they did have one of the regular directors, Les Landau. So I think the writing was okay. Like, it was somebody that knew the series and knew the characters. And the director was definitely experienced with the series, so that all worked out okay. Well, one scene where I started to like really go, okay, this is an elaborate plan, is when they pulled up Kira's dead body, which obviously wasn't real.
Yeah,
but I also buy the Obsidian Order could create that.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's just like if we were dealing with the Romulans, How Shi'ar, or we'll meet Starfleet's version of it. You met them in Discovery, Section 31. Yep. Like, they all have this secret organization that could do this kind of thing.
Yep.
They do know about a memory Kira never told anyone, though. And that also had me going, man, they really dug in and did their research. But again, Obsidian Order, they're supposed to be one of the best. So Garrick was a member, which helps sell, because Garrick is, you believe he's the best. So
yes, that I do like those layers of it. They're really good. And Garrick's, as I might have already said, Sisko says to him, "Mr. Garrick, I'm impressed," and I was as well. I love that too. Like, and it is that thing of like, oh, I really like this guy, but I don't trust this guy. And we all have
should never trust. That's the thing. Like, Andy Robinson makes Garrick so likable, and his relationship with Bashir is so like I'm shipping them, of course. I love them together. But the thing about Garrick And I love this about Deep Space Nine is a lot of shows, once we decide this character was charming and likable, he's never going to be a villain, right? Like he is who he is. I will say, similar to Quark, like there are redeeming qualities about Garrick, but he's always going to be dangerous. And if you get comfortable 6 seasons in of, oh, I know Garrick, he's not dangerous, he's gonna do dangerous things down the road because he is a dangerous man. And the second you underestimate that, you're going to be at your own peril, right?
Well,
you cannot, you should never, ever, ever trust Garrick. And he's the first one to tell you that. When he says it, believe him.
I feel like in this episode, and most of the time it happens when there's a moment where it's like, oh, this guy's cool, I like him. There's also, they work in another moment where it's like, I don't know about this guy. So that's really well done.
I mean, I think I've told you over and over again, my favorite episode of Star Trek, period, is in season 6 of DS9, and it's a Sisko and Garrick story. Yeah. And I know we're a few years away from that, and I can wait because we need to build up the relationship more before we get there. But Garrick is part of my favorite episode of Star Trek ever, and so every time I see him, I get excited. You mentioned Sisko being impressed. That's the scene with the hollow filter, which I really wish we kept using in Star Trek. I feel like we see it here and then don't really use ever again. I mean, Next Gen may have used it once, but it's like, come on, that's such a good tool. Garrick's command codes still work on the Cardassian ship, which to me is really telling. Maybe it's part of the tension between the Obsidian Order and Central Command, because he gives them a Central Command code, and he was ostracized by the Obsidian Order because that's the body he was part of. So I feel like that's where they never bothered to shut off his codes because they didn't think he'd be so stupid enough to use them. Or it was bait. Like, if you're gonna be this stupid, then we're gonna come after you. And Garrick plays his trump card that he's held on to here. And that's really interesting to me because it's like, he doesn't have to. He could keep this under his belt. Even with Sisko's extortion, he doesn't have to go this far. And him choosing to do it is, I think, very much a sign of he's just going to wait and see how it plays out. I think he also does have faith in our crew. Having observed them for a couple of years, definitely spying on them, knows more about their activities than he should know. I think this episode, he shows that he has faith in Sisko, faith in Kira, and that they may be something his people need, even if they're not aware of it yet. But then it's like play off of, oh, the command code? That's something I overheard while having pants. Like, come on. He doesn't even try to do the believable lie there. Something that rubbed me the wrong way in these Defiant scenes is Odo brings Garrick to the bridge of the Defiant and is like, I caught him sneaking around. Odo is not the security chief on the Defiant. We've already established just a couple weeks ago that when it's Starfleet matters, Eddington's the security chief. And all this would have taken was one line about why they left Eddington behind and he was comfortable sending Odo in his stead, but they didn't do that. So it really rings poorly when we just had this whole episode about it.
I bumped on that too. I was like, this seems convenient. This seems oddly convenient.
It's like we're only going to pay Eddington for 7 or 8 episodes this year. So sometimes it's got to be Odo. But again, just throw in a line of dialogue.
Yeah.
Leggett agrees to help Kira escape, and he brings in his aide, Ari, who isn't very notable as a character, except if you realize he was played by Billy Burke, best known for Twilight movies, Red Riding Hood, Drive Angry, recently 911 Lone Star. I love Billy Burke. He's been in so many things, and this was such a minor character for him, but I guess this was relatively early in his career. He only has 3 credits before this.
Oh, wow. Yeah, he looked familiar. Sorry, when I looked him up, he looked familiar, I should say. But yeah, he's got a lot of good credits.
So many. I mean, IMDb has him 75. Only 75 credits. No, I really enjoy Billy Burke anytime we see him, and I did not recognize him in the moment. It was a surprise to me when I checked IMDb later that that's who it was. Now I kind of want to rewatch his scene and just be like, oh, Billy Burke, yay. Sadly, his only Trek credit. Like, I feel like once he was better established, he should have come back and done some other episodes. And I really felt like he probably had, but I'm looking and I can't find any. So it's not too late. He is very much a working actor today. It's time to bring him back to Trek.
To go back to our guy Gould Benil. He is played by
Christopher Carroll.
Yeah, he's got a Seinfeld credit. He played the maitre d' in the what episode was it I had earlier? Sorry, I'm on the wrong.
I didn't look him up because he doesn't have a profile picture on IMDb, but he has twice as many credits as Billy Burke, so I guess I should have looked him up. The Seinfeld episode, the maitre d', the episode is called The Watch in season 4.
Yes. Yep. So small part in that episode. Yep.
I mean, he's got a ton of sitcom credits around that era. Anything from The Nanny to and then dramas too. NYPD Blue, Diagnosis Murder, Get Smart reboot in the 90s, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He does have a 1-episode part on Star Trek Voyager in a different role. He did an episode of Friends, episode of Carol in the City. The voice in the video games Star Trek Starfleet Academy in the 90s.
I know we're doing a rewatch here, but nothing makes me even more nostalgic than going through credit lists like his, where it's like all this 90s stuff. It's like, I'm back. It's the Clinton years. It's, whatever.
3 episodes of Boston Legal with Shatner. The episode of How I Met Your Mother. According to IMDb, he's best known for Little Nicky. I remember that, where he played Hitler. Akira, Perfect Blue, and Primal Fear. Not like some A-list credits by any means, but he did an episode of American Horror Story like 3 years ago, so he's still active.
While we're on the Seinfeld and the 90s stuff, the guy who played Yeln, and I'm trying to remember who Yeln was in this episode, maybe he was on early.
Yeln was... that was in Act 1. He was the witness.
Oh yes. He was in the Bubble Boy episode of Seinfeld.
And Peppenfuss.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of great credits too. His first credit was for Escape from New York. All small parts, but he was one of the Daryls on Newhart.
He only has 25 credits. Yeah. But yes, he's first Daryl or Daryl number 1 for 91 episodes. So that is his biggest claim to fame for sure. But doesn't look like he's got like 2 credits in the last 10 years, but not ever huge there.
Yep.
Yeah, the episode of Seinfeld, obviously, but no other Trek.
Oh, and just to go back to our comment a little while ago about Garrick, my last note for the episode was, don't trust Garrick. And I can't remember if that's what he said at the very end or if that was just like, oh, this is my takeaway from the episode. But
got just a couple of notes. Odo has a bag. That they threw the bag on the floor so Odo could get behind the bad guys. I liked that. Gambit. That was good.
And I will say, I love the rescue. Garrick was involved, but I love that, all of that. Because, I mean, part of me knew that was somebody had to show up, but also I just, you can say it was cheesy or corny or whatever, but I like the good guys come to the rescue. Sometimes it's fun. Even if they're complicated good guys like Garrick or whatever, I still enjoyed this was a good showdown. I enjoyed it.
Well, and there's what stuck out to me, and I know this wouldn't register with you, but this was Garrick angering the Obsidian Order. And he killed Entok, who he liked. Yeah. But now he's used his command codes. He left the station where he wasn't supposed to, and he's messed with the Obsidian Order's business, messed with an arrest of a high profile. So he has now bit the hand that feeds him, that's been willing to leave him alone on the station. He now has a target on his back. And that will pay off in future episodes.
Is Garrick actually a double agent?
No, he's not a double agent. He is a disgraced agent that's been marooned on the station as punishment.
That's right.
He's referenced that a little bit, but that is the true story. He's been sent away. And we're going to meet his handler. Or have we already met his handler? We have already met his handler. Yeah. Paul Dooley already appeared, did he not? Yeah. That's the main Obsidian Order agent we'll get to know. That was who marooned, exiled Garrick. I do want to know where the real Ileana is and how many sleeper agents the Cardassians have on Bajor. I wish that came back into play down the road.
Good question.
There are a bunch of novels. Apparently, I'm seeing on Memory Alpha that there's like 5 novels where Ileana's a character. Deep Space Nine novels, but she does not appear in canon.
Interesting.
I know that sleeper agent program, though, it feels like something that should come back up later in the series, but I don't think it ever does.
Well, maybe they're still sleeping. Maybe they haven't been activated yet.
Well, as far as the don't trust Garrick, the legate gives Kira fatherly advice. Don't trust Garrick, and I'm like, that's not advice you need to give her. I think she knows that.
Yeah. And I did like that last scene of the two of them, even though it was,
Or he's like, Kira, you're the closest thing I have to family until I find my daughter.
Oh, and that was my
corny,
other
but I liked it.
Was I thought it was getting a little bit vertigo, where it's like, all right, we're dressing her up just like my daughter, so I can feel like she's back and all that stuff. So a little bit of vertigo in there. Not exactly the same. Vertigo's even crazier and not father daughter, not nearly as wholesome. But anyway, I thought there was a little bit of aspect of that, which I thought was interesting as well.
Well, I guess my alternate episode, I was gonna say the story's true and she defects for real, but like that, I like better if we take the Legate and the Bajordan farmer whose pizza oven she burned down, and then like a third character that she has a similar relationship with, and then they all come back together in an episode. That would be a fun. Like, these are all the father figures Kira's been collecting.
That's really good. That's a good thing to bookmark. Again, I'll keep tipping my hand for next week, but I'm gonna kind of put a pin in that for next week. I'm trying to decide. Oh, I'm sorry. You were gonna say.
No, go. Tell me your alternate.
I think. Yeah, I guess mine was just facing the enemy too. Just like you had kind of come up. You had mentioned earlier, it's just more adventures. Troy gets kidnapped again, and she's wakes up as a Romulan yet again. Like, how did this happen again? Guess what, Troy? We didn't really explain it last time, and we're not gonna this time either.
So something that really struck me at the end of this episode was we had that really nice scene, as you mentioned. You liked it, I liked it, where her and the Legate are bonding, and he's definitely a dissident, and he's going to help Bajor. However, when I thought about it for half a second, he's high up in Central Command. That means he has committed atrocities that we have not heard about or don't know about. And it feels very whitewashed to be like, nope, we're buddies here. Like, I want that alternate scene where then Kira goes back to her quarters and reads his personnel file, and he's murdered tens of thousands of Bajorans. Yeah. You're like, okay.
It's like us looking at these actors we love, their Wikipedia pages.
Only worse, because I think this guy's probably complicit in murder. Mass murder. Right. And there's no way he makes it to the rank he did without committing atrocities.
I think you're right.
And so, this whole thing where Kira and him are just fine, I'm like, she is going to look him up, and they are not going to be fine.
Yeah, I feel like they're fine in that moment, but I think I agree with you. Like,
she would have already looked him up on the Defiant ride home. I think that's what's unrealistic, is that she has that scene with him.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the first things she'd do when she got back to the ship. Anyway, let's get to the rankings.
All right.
Who was your shady character in Second Skin?
I went through a lot of people. I landed on, maybe I want to change this one too. I started with everyone. Then I had Gregory Sierra, Enteg, then the writers. I'm going to go back to Enteg. I think Enteg's mine.
He's the only choice, I think.
Yeah.
Obvious choice, but that's who I have as well. Who was your annoyance?
I think he's my annoying too.
Me too!
Yeah.
There's nobody else that's annoying in this episode, and he was annoying.
And that's a credit to my man, Gregory Sierra. Rest in peace.
Agreed. Agreed. Who you having a drink with?
I wrote down, and I'm going to stick with this, Ileana. I think this goes to the thought that there is this Ileana out there. So that's who I want to have a drink with. I want to find her and have a drink.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I'm going with Kira because she's been through some stuff and could use a drink after all this. And also, I need to break it to her that I did some research on the Legate, and I got to tell her. Yeah. So that'll go down better with some whiskey.
Yes.
But yeah, ranking the episode, we are only 4 episodes into the season.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I don't know. Let's just start with last week's episode, Equilibrium, whatever. Dex has the secret murder hiding inside of her. Better or worse than that?
You know, I would have thought going in that I would have gone under, but I think I would go above.
I think none of Visitor's performance, the guest stars they lined up, and the fact that we got Garrick elevates this.
It was a lot of fun. The last 20 minutes, especially.
Yeah. I love that as the search part 2.
We might have to leave this up to Keith. I think I like that. I think I'd leave this below that. Yeah.
See, I think I would go above that.
Oh, and I did see this was one of the Vulture ranked this the 7th best DS9 episode.
Oh God, no. Yeah. Wrong.
Like, I don't think I missed it that by that much. At least So
it has a 7.9 rating out of 10 on IMDb, which is higher than the 6.7 for Equilibrium. I don't agree with that, but I also don't agree with the Search Part 2 as an 8.2. After Search Part 1 is an 8.3 and House of Quark as an 8.1, we put House of Quark above Search Part 2. I would not put this above House of Quark.
Okay.
So it is just between whether it goes above or below the Search
We
Part 2.
want to put the pressure on.
That key.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are, because we're only 5 in. It's it's either going to be in 3rd or 4th place of 5, and I think that feels right. Next week, The Abandoned. Odo tries to change the nature of a rapidly maturing Jem'Hadar. Give it away in the Hypnosis IMDb. Infant Quark finds while Sisko tries to break his son's relationship with a 20-year-old Dabo girl. I hate this Hypnosis IMDb, man. I feel like I need to edit this Hypnosis to take the spoiler out. Yeah. But until then, live long.
Even if you're not really my daughter, and prosper.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?